Hey everyone, how's it going today, and welcome back to another update. So today's update is actually going to be relatively interesting because what we're going to be doing is taking a trip now and really talk about what's been going on internationally. Now everything that we talk about in today is going to be actually very important to stimulus, but I think this is actually also going to be a video that's actually going to be relevant to essentially almost every single person that's watching this, because the big information to share is that there are now actually officially not even just one now but several bills that are anticipated now to come in the next couple of potentially even days. The big idea really, and each of these bills are also very unique. There's a lot of stuff that's very particularly special and new to them. The idea really is that there is one bill. The fast answer is that there is one bill that is now expected to come out, which is going to be a revised version of the social program stimulus package. This is the one that we all very much care about, or at least certainly if we are in America, we probably care about. There is another new bill that has to do with the government that we're going to talk a little bit about, and then there is now also another bill, actually interestingly enough, that has to deal with, just simply put, is social programs and money internationally. This is going to sound a little bit confusing. It's going to make a lot more sense, so we are going to get right to it. So as always, real fast, 5 quick seconds before we begin. As always, remember to smash the like button if you guys hopefully enjoy videos like this. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts. I think actually, especially maybe by the very end of this video, because right now there's a little bit of a controversial situation to what's going on. It's going to sound confusing, but hopefully when we do actually clarify, I think it'd be really interesting to hear everyone's opinion about the current situation. So that being said, let's get this video started. So the big breaking news, I guess, story that to really be able to share out there is to really share, I guess, that the first off is that there are going to be, as mentioned, several bills that are going to be coming out in potentially the next couple of days. The first bill, that's probably also the most important bill, although all of these are actually very particularly important, is that we are going to now officially be getting new information about a brand new stimulus package bill, but a revised version now with Manchin's words. The story, if you guys remember from the last update, which will also be at the end screen if you guys haven't checked it out, is that they've now officially gone back to negotiating plans with the stimulus package. Additionally, on top of that, Joe Manchin has also now officially shared what he wants. They are not in full agreement right now, but they also at least know and or at least certainly there's knowledge of what they actually physically want to be able to work with. So the long story short is now using this brand new information, it is anticipated that they're going to now be trying to write up and create a more smaller version of all of the stimulus package programs to really bundle in. Of course, what is inside of this bill, that is still to be determined because we don't have information about that yet, but hopefully soon. So maybe consider subscribing if you guys haven't done so, and huge thanks if you guys have, but of course you guys can always decide, but it is greatly appreciated. Now the second bill that's really going to be going on is going to be everything related to the government funding, because the story that's happening also right now is that if you're watching this on release date, this Friday is actually going to be the date or the deadline where they have to now create a bill and pass it in order to try to keep the government running. Because if they're not able to do that, then it means that they're going to potentially now enter into a government shutdown. And why does this matter to us? Is that because it pretty much means that everything related to the government, whether this has to do with actual government programs, so things like Social Security, unemployment, checks, all that kind of stuff, and then even just things like government jobs, a lot of things. But the big idea is that it's going to be impacted. So it's very important for them to try to get the government funding approved, so now they can keep them running all the way until some indefinite time. Now the really great news is that they do see it very promising, because this is just a government funding bill at the end of the day, and once this is approved, they're hoping to now keep the government funded all the way until September. So if this thing goes through, we now have clearance, or let's just simply put is we now have bought ourselves time for about 6 months, which I think is actually really, really great news. And it definitely looks promising. So that's probably the second big thing to know. Now, the final bill that we're really going to be talking about, there's a lot of other sub-bills, but the final bill that we're going to be talking about for today, at least in this video, that's going to be happening is that right now the story is that because of the conflict that's going on in Russia and Ukraine, as most of you guys know, what's happening right now is that here in America, they are now trying to create a brand new bill. And what that bill is really going to be focused about is essentially about trying to create money for Ukraine and foreign affairs. So simply put, what this is that you can even say in a lot of ways, this is almost like a stimulus package, but for international countries. Now, you might be wondering about why, and this is the part where I think it would be really interesting to hear everyone's opinion, because it is a very, very complicated topic. It's obviously going to be very, very biased, but it is actually very, very relevant to each other. What's happening right now is that a lot of the people in America are very, very, I guess regardless of your opinion, you know, whether you're whichever side that you're on, a lot of the people in America right now, the biggest thing is that there's obviously a very, very massive movement, not even just in America, but around the world right now, of really trying to support Ukraine in everything that's happening. I have many, many Ukrainian friends in real life, so I definitely feel it there. I have a lot of Russian friends in real life. Actually, New York, I'm in New York, and we all know that New York is a very, very diverse place where you can meet people from all around the world. And the big idea is that because the biggest fear that they have really right now is that if they don't try to protect Ukraine from everything that's happening, it's going to now potentially escalate everything that's happening onto a very, very international level. So why this is actually very, very important for us is that because the story is that right now they want to create a bill in order to try to provide support and relief for Ukraine in order to help them try to stand strong. Because the belief is that if they're able to try to support Ukraine in what's happening right now, if they're able to try to create a level of, simply put, peace in everything that's happening, in an indirect way, it's actually going to help America. Because if they don't end up doing this, the biggest risk that people are very, very afraid of is essentially about a couple of things, but probably the two most prominent one. The first is probably everything related to oil and resources. Most of you guys may have already seen other videos about this, but maybe to just clarify in this video as well, is that because as most of you guys may or may not know, and feel free to share experiences, gas and oil prices, they're skyrocketing right now. And one of the biggest reasons that's currently happening is because of the conflict there. That's why actually in a lot of ways, everything is very, very important. Because if they're able to provide relief to, like in this case, Ukraine, the hope is that maybe they can also control prices in America as well. Because if they don't end up doing this, then the problem is that the worst case, what they're really afraid of, is pretty much World War III, or just simply put is a lot of economic situations to potentially come if they don't end up sending this relief. So why this is really important, I guess the big debate really is about really trying to figure out where they want to focus their attention. Right now it's technically a little bit of everything, but it is all very, very related, because in one side, I know a lot of people probably are just trying to, provide relief, and they believe that our country should really just be focused on America, and we should be doing our best to give money to just our own people, which is in America. There is another side that believes that we should be trying to help a lot of foreign countries out of goodwill. And then there's also like a more of like a mid-tier, middle side that really believes we should create a balance, because right now at this time, it's not all just a black and white thing because of one side or the other. Because if we don't provide support to the places that support, needs to be given, everything is now going to potentially become impacted. So I do think maybe it would be pretty interesting to hear everyone's opinion about whether or not you think right now the focus should be on helping Ukraine, or maybe it should be focused on helping America. What's actually happening is really a blend of both, but of course, there's only so many hours, there's only so much time during a day, and it looks like right now they're trying to get the Ukraine and Russia situation sorted and then move on to a lot of the other stuff. And then of course also related to the government funding. But that part's probably the easiest of the different things that are going on right now. But of course, until then, we just have to see what they actually officially decide. We have to see what's actually happening over, beyond our borders if you are in America, because I do know there's a few, international people that are watching this, so huge love over there. But we just have to see what's happening, because right now it really does look like everything's kind of just tied in some way, shape, or form. But beyond this is that that's pretty much what I really just wanted to share in today's update. So if you guys hopefully found that relatively insightful and haven't done so, consider smashing the like button, consider subscribing, hitting the bell. And as always, as just mentioned, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts about honestly anything. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well. It's a very wild time out there, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.